'Cause who do you think you are kidding, Mr. Hitler, if you think old England's done?
What a joy to hear Bud Flanagan's beautiful, distinctive voice there. And Who Do You Think You're Kidding, Mr. Hitler? Of course, the classic theme tune to a classic TV series, Dad's Army. And of course, we heard Siobhan telling us about the new Dad's Army film. So if you fancy that, or we're just thinking about Dad's Army anyway, how about this? Very exciting. The BBC is releasing one of the famous lost episodes of the show with a twist. Fans will get to see this lost episode entitled A Stripe for Frazer, available on the BBC store in animated form. So the visuals from the episode are lost, but the audio track remains. And an intrepid team of animators have painstakingly recreated it. Lead animator Chris Bowles is here. Welcome to the programme, Chris.
Hello, Janice. How are you?
I'm fine. Is this the kind of project that folk like you just, yes, wait till I get my hands on this?
You could say that. Every now and again you get a project come along that you just can't say no to. And, you jump on board with both feet.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how it came about.
So about 6 years ago, our producer, Charles Norton, got in touch with me and a friend of mine called Zoran Jankovic and said, I've got this lost episode, the original audio recording. Would you like to animate it? And we thought, well, a half-hour episode, that's going to be a lot of animation, but, let's give it a go.
Yeah. So clearly it's a heck of a lot. Are you of a generation that was familiar with Dad's Army, watched it, knows the characters?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of... you could say a lot of research has gone into watching Dad's Army and picking up on character traits over the years.
Binge watching. Funnily enough, Stuart Milne on Twitter has been in touch, reading it, that we're going to be talking about this, and says, I hope you ask if this means they'll animate more missing Doctor Who.
I knew somebody would say that.
I know.
There's a lot of Doctor Who fans out there that are quite eager to see the same treatment.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I know I have a book in my house which is just a complete annotation of the missing Doctor Who episodes. I didn't know about missing Dad's Army episodes until this. I mean, I know that in Scotland with the STV there's sort of like possibly apocryphal, probably true stories about somebody being given the job of clearing out a store and basically just chucking all the master tapes except for football matches onto a skip. I don't know what happened with Dad's Army.
As far as I know, the story goes that the BBC just would send back the original master tapes to be recorded over again.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of old TV shows have been lost in that way.
But how brilliant!
Sorry, go on.
I was just saying how brilliant to have the audio, because that's really. I mean, I guess given that and we all know what to expect because we're so familiar with the characters, that makes it maybe slightly less daunting. How long did it take?
From start to finish, we had a meeting all together in October, and after that I did a bit of preparation and made a moving storyboard so we could see what was going on in each scene.
Yeah.
After that, we only had about 12 weeks of animating time.
Which doesn't sound like long.
No, it's very fast turnaround. But luckily we had an excellent team. Everybody sort of put in a few late nights here and there. And it all came together in the end.
What is the style of animation then?
So we had an illustrator called Martin Geraghty, and he works on comic books for Doctor Who and all that kind of stuff. So he did some illustrations of all the characters for us. So it's kind of like a moving comic book in a way. We had to cut some corners on the animation style, but there's quite a few nice sequences in there.
And it's interesting to think about those characters. Once you start thinking about this in animation and comic book, it somehow bizarrely makes sense because we really care about these characters. They're so well realised by the writers and by the actors that it's almost like a lovely gift to you guys to animate that. Yeah,
you could say that. They're you almost don't need the visuals to see what's going on in your head. You know the characters so well. Mannering's this pompous, if lovable buffoon. Wilson's a slightly distracted and all the other sort of funny caricatures going on. You can see it in your head.
Yeah.
So being able to join this project and animate, it was more of just a case of being able to add a little bit extra life to it.
Stop being so modest. We're going to hear a little clip. Here we go again. It's radio, so it's like the audio. We'll just imagine your animation now. This is a flavour of that lost episode, A Stripe for Frazer.
Is there something you're wanting?
Stand easy, Fred. Now, Sergeant Wilson and I have been watching you rather closely over the last few weeks.
Well, I'm sorry, sir, it's all this damn bull. I can't see any sense in it.
A smart soldier is a good soldier.
I've heard that before, but it's still
Frazer?
very bull.
Anyway, I didn't bring you in here to discuss spit and polish. The fact is, we're looking for NCOs. And if I'm any judge of a man, and I think I am, you have the necessary qualities of leadership, discipline, and reliability. You held NCO rank in the Navy, didn't you?
Aye, sir, I did that. I was chief petty officer, till I was busted.
Busted?
I struck the officer of the watch, sir,
Did you?
with a boat hook. Crooked end.
Well, I expect you had good reason.
Oh, I had that, sir.
Yes, I'm sure you had.
I was drunk.
Anyway, that's all in the past now. Not much chance of that happening again, is there, Sergeant?
No, sir, no. Not with a boat hook. No.
There you go. Arthur Lowe, John Le Mesurier and John Laurie. There is Mannering, Wilson and Private Frazer. Is it a good plot line for this particular episode,
It's
Chris?
very good. It's still funny after, it hasn't lost any of its sparkle.
Yeah, and I suppose it's interesting. You've got the studio audience laughter. Do you just accept that, or are there any kind of do animations of the audience popping up or anything like that?
Oh, no, not at all.
I just thought
No,
you might have gone a bit. We've been using the word meta today.
There's a few moments where the audience start laughing, and you can hear the actors pause their line and then pick up again, and you kind of have to work that into the animation.
Yeah, well, that's what I was wondering. That is really interesting. Yeah, you're listening to it in such detail as opposed to us watching the TV show. So, any particular sort of extra pressure then with something like this, which is kind of like TV royalty?
Well, we're working with such a good script. Jimmy Perry and David Croft wrote such a good script, and series after series. It's still getting repeated today. So there's a lot of pressure there with regard to not wanting to do a disservice to it or anything like that.
Yeah.
And really try and do the best that we could with the time that we had.
Are there further lost episodes that you might animate?
Well, I hope so. There's, as far as I know, there's 2 Lost Dad's Army episodes plus a Christmas special, as far as I know.
Ooh.
And there's a little bit more action going on in those episodes. This one's much more based in the office and the hall. There's no real kind of action sequences,
Yeah.
Which made it a little bit easier on the animation. But these other Lost episodes, they might be a bit more involved.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I think our listeners might be slightly more excited about this than about the film, which our reviewer Siobhan Sinnott succinctly gave pelters to just before the news. Yeah, it was a big thumbs down. But I think people, I know. Well, other opinions are available, but I think I think many people have the same opinion. But
I might go and give it. I'm going to give it a chance.
Yeah, I think you should, since you're immersed in the world. But there you go. I think a lot of people will be interested in this Lost episode. Thank you very much, Chris.
Can I just say that you can get it on the BBC store, and there's a little discount code as well.
Oh.
If you put in Dad's Army 50, you can get. I think you can get it half price.
Oh, thanks for the tip.
Yeah.
Excellent. Cheers, Chris.
Nice to talk to you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Chris Bowles there. Yeah, you get a 50% discount. No. So that's that lost episode of Dad's Army, now animated, A Stripe for Frazer, available from the new digital service, BBC Store. That's what it is. It's not like some big cupboard you have to go to. It's online. There you go. Time now for another wee preview of tonight's edition of Key Sessions on BBC Radio Scotland from 9 until 11. This is Stevie McCrory.